This is a tutorial on lattice multiplication, and so let's take a look at it. Well, if I was to multiply these two numbers, what I would do with the lattice is I would draw a rectangle. And in that rectangle, I am going to do some multiplication. So I've got a 3-digit number and a 2-digit number. And so I'm going to write the 3-digit number up top on the long side of the rectangle, the length of the rectangle. So I put the 8, the 5, and the 2. And then over on this side, the shorter side, I'm going to write the 2-digit number, 9 and 7. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this rectangle into boxes. And so I have 3 columns for the 3-digit number, and then I have 2 rows for the 2-digit number. From there, we need to make our lattice. So this is where the name comes into effect. So lattice is a material used in landscaping, and it has these cross members that go through, horizontal and vertical members. And so these are the lattices that I'm drawing right now, these cross members that go through, again, the vertical and the horizontal members. And in these lattices, we're going to put the answer to a 1-digit multiplication problem, in which we will get up to 2 digits. So let's try it from here. So once we've set this up, then it's just multiplying, and then we'll have to add some numbers. So we take this 2 and we multiply it by 9, and 2 times 9 makes 18. And then we continue to go. 2 times the 7 makes 14. And then we do 5 now times by the 9, that makes 45. And then 5 times the 7 makes 35. Then we have 8 times 9 makes 72. And 8 times 7 makes 56. So once we've done that multiplication, now we add up the numbers. And so we start in these lattices. So I'm looking in this section right here, I'll highlight it in blue. This section right here, so this 4, I bring down. Now I'm looking at this next section. So I'm looking at the 8, the 1, and the 5. So I'm adding up those numbers. 8 and 1 make 9, and plus 5 makes 14. So I do have to carry when I'm doing the lattice, so I just write 1 digit here, and I carry the 1 up into this next lattice. So now I'm looking again at these 4 numbers, the 6, the 3, the 5, and the 1, and this 1. Actually, I guess there's 5 now. So this 1 plus 1 makes 2, plus 5 gives me 7, plus 3 makes 10, plus 6 makes 16. So for the 6 here, carry a 1 up top here, and then I'm adding up this next group of numbers. So there's 4 numbers, 5, 2, 4, and 1. So 1 and 4 make 5, plus 5 makes 10, plus 2 makes 12. So put the 2 here, carry up a 1. And then I just do 1 and 7 makes 8. And I read in a counterclockwise direction. And so the answer is going to be 8, 2, 6, 4, and a 4. So that makes 82,644. Well, what's advantageous about this lattice method is that the numbers that you write when you do the multiplication are right next to one another. Otherwise, in the traditional method, you have to write down the 1's place, but then carry up the 10's place. And so this way, your numbers, when you multiply, you don't have to carry up the number. You do have to carry when you add, but not when you multiply. There's the same number of multiplication problems and the same amount of addition problems in lattice compared to the traditional method. The part that's going to be easier about the lattice method, is that you don't have to add the zeros when you move over a place value, and when you're doing the multiplication, again, as I said, that you don't have to write the 1's place in one location, the 10's in another. The 2 numbers are right next to each other. So let's try another problem here, tougher problem. And what would be difficult about this is that the numbers are really large. But with the lattice method, it's not so bad. It's just a lot of one-digit multiplication that we're going to end up setting up. So if you've got bigger numbers, you just use a bigger box. That's all. And then we write down the numbers. So start with 3, 2, 1, 4, and a 9. Over here we have a 9, 5, and an 8. And then we start making our vertical and our horizontal cross members. And then once we've made those, then we can set up our lattice. So again, the lattice comes from those cross members that go diagonally. So we've set up those lattice here, and again, these numbers are just going, or these parts are going diagonal through these. Alright, and so once we have this set up, so we've got all these little triangles inside these larger squares, we can go ahead and start doing the multiplication. And so we've got, starting up in this corner here, I'll start, and it doesn't matter where you start as long as you're consistent. I could even start here, 3 and 9 if I wanted to. Again, you can just work your way across and then down, however you want to do it. But basically the numbers that you multiply go in these two boxes that you formed. So I'll start over here this time. 3 and 9 makes 27. And so you can get really fast at it because really all it is just 9 times these different numbers. So 9 times 2 makes 18. 9 times 1 makes 0, 9. Use the 0 as the placeholder. So this is like the tens place and the ones place. 4 and 9, 36. 9 and 9, 81. And so now you're multiplying 5 by each of these numbers. So it goes really quick this way. 3 and 5 makes 15. 2 and 5 make 10. 1 and 5 make a 0, 5. 4 and 5 make 20. 9 and 5 make 45. And so now you're multiplying by 8. So you can think about 8s as you're doing it. So that's what makes it a little quicker, is that all you have to do is think about 8 times the number. And you do that in regular traditional multiplication, but again, the difference is you're writing the numbers right next to each other. So that's where it goes a little quicker. 3 and 8, 24. 2 and 8, 16. 1 and 8, 0, 8. 4 and 8, 32. 9 and 8, 72. And so from there, now it's an addition problem. So we're just adding up the numbers, starting with this 2. And then here's where it gets a little bit tough, but it would be just as tough with the traditional multiplication because you'd have to add up numbers as well. And so here we have 5 and 2 make 12, plus 2 makes 14. So you have to carry up the 1 into this row right here. So here we have, now try to count by 10. So I see 8, and these two 1s make 2, so that's 10. And 4 and 3 make 7, so that's 17. So try to add a series of 10s up, if you can find them. 8 and 2 make 10. 6 and 5 make 11, so that would be 21. 22 here, plus a 6 makes 28. Carry up a 2. So try it again and make 10s. 9 and 1 make 10, and then I see 4, 3, and 2, so that's 5 and 4 make 9, plus the 10 makes 19. So I'll carry up a 1. So again, I'm trying to look for 10s. 8, 1, and 1 make 10, plus the 7 makes 17. Carry up a 1. And then add these up. 7, 1, 1, 1 makes 10. Carry up a 1. So you add those two numbers and we get 3. So again, you're just reading counterclockwise. So we take the numbers 3, 0, 7, 9, 8, 7, 4, 2. And then from there, put in those commas. So we got a comma here, we got a comma here. So this makes 30,798,742. And there's your answer. So the lattice method works really well, and it is a little bit easier for kids when they're multiplying because you're just looking at the numbers and you can multiply fairly quickly if you just have one number you're multiplying by each time. But what makes it really nice is that you're writing the numbers right next to each other, so there's no carrying the number and then writing the value and then multiplying and adding at the same time. Here you're just doing all multiplication, getting all the multiplication done, and then you're doing all the adding in one step. With the traditional, you're doing some multiplication and then some adding, and then once you get all that multiplication and adding done, then you're doing more adding. And so this breaks it down into parts.